Welcome back. Today is the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty, as set aside by the United Nations to end poverty in all forms everywhere in the globe. This year's theme is called Moving from Humiliation and Exclusion to Participation, Ending Poverty in All Its Forms. It highlights how important it is to address the suffering endured by many people living in poverty. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 1 addresses ending extreme poverty the world over. Although extreme poverty rates have been cut by more than half since 1990, 1 in 5 people in developing regions still lives on less than $1.25 a day. And there are millions more who make even less. Here in Nigeria, about half of the citizenry is said to be living below the poverty line. While that's a very disturbing statistic, let's take this discussion further with a player in the business of poverty eradication, Mr. Oluseyi Oyebisi. He's the Executive Director, the Nigeria Network of NGOs. He joins us now live from the ancient city of Ibadan in Oyo State. Welcome to News Across Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
Now, reports from the United Nations have it that about half of Nigeria's population is living below the poverty line. As we just said, should we as a country join in marking this day of the poverty eradication, of the International Day for Eradication of Poverty? What do we have
Yes,
to
we should.
To celebrate?
Yes, we should, when you look at the focus of that day, because that day itself is devoted to raising awareness on the need to eradicate poverty and destitution worldwide. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go on.
Okay, all right. So when you look at the focus of that day, the day itself is dedicated to raising awareness on the need to eradicate poverty and destitution worldwide. So linking that to the analysis you've just given, the day is a day for every Nigerian to mark in order to ensure that we remind our governments of the need to eradicate poverty and to also eradicate destitution worldwide. So Nigerians should actually be marking that day.
Now, the theme is moving from exclusion, humiliation and exclusion, that is, to participation. That's the theme for this year, to end poverty in all its forms. How has Nigeria fared?
We haven't fared well at all, because when you look at the World Bank figures, we still have around 110 million Nigerians that are poor. And when you look at the UNDP statistics for Nigeria in terms of the Human Development Index, we are 160 out of 177. So that gives you a picture that, we're not faring well at all. So this day becomes more important for 110 million Nigerians that are poor, that are in poverty, and that needs to be lifted out of poverty. So we're not doing well at all.
Now, the United Nations set the development goals, sustainable development goals, set 2030 as a deadline to eradicate extreme poverty in the world. Is that realistic?
Well, it is realistic if we start on time and we put in place the right policies and programs that can help us to achieve this. Realizing that the SDGs itself is a successor goal to the MDGs. And you would see that we made some gains with the MDGs. Even though we failed in a lot of the goals, the SDGs provides us an opportunity for us to be able to put an end to poverty, for instance, and for us to address issues around health, education, infrastructure, energy, the environment, including peace and security.
So the UN attributes the increase in poverty in Nigeria to the country being deeply divided on the basis of plurality of ethnic, religious, and regional identities. Do you agree? And how can we as a country correct this?
Well, I think I agree. And added to that list are the issues of gender, level of education and income. all of this put together are drivers of marginalization. And we all have a role to play in ensuring that these issues are well addressed. I mean, from the family through to communities and governments, there must be a conscious effort on our part to ensure that, our diversity is used positively, and that in development we do not leave anyone behind. Government has got a huge role in ensuring that it provides the environment for ethnic diversity to thrive and for it to contribute its own quota to development. We must also listen to divergent views with a view of learning lessons from those in order for us to use that to plan our development.
Okay.
So our diversity should be used effectively.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Oyebisi, but that's unfortunately is as much as we have time for. But many thanks for your contribution to this discussion on the International Day set aside for the eradication of poverty. Mr. Oluseyi Oyebisi is a stakeholder in the business of poverty eradication, and we certainly hope that Nigeria gets closer to that goal, even as the United Nations shares that sentiment with the whole country. I'm Olumide Macaulay. That's it on News Across Nigeria today. See you next time.